Hi. Is it recording? Yeah. I don't know how it looks like. It's kind of like I should really invest in one of those. I don't know. I don't know what I should invest in. So I'll talk about what you should expect in your first mental health visit in Arkham Asylum, so to speak. I'm proficient at it. I'm a seasoned. Been there 3 4 times at least, and so here's some heads up to make your process more smoother and efficient, and so that you come out on top. So first of all, what happens is, um, again, there's a lot of HIPAA confidentiality which I cannot disclose. Like I cannot disclose about patients' intimate details and medical secrets, but I'll give a breakdown on the process. So I voluntarily signed up for this shit, like SEER. You know how Navy SEAL Special Forces train for SEER, survival, escape, evade, resistance, escape, whatever it stands for. But you know what I'm talking about, SEER training. Like basically, like you sign up for this shit. If you want to be a special forces soldier, they put you in a coffin, 3 by 3 coffin. Where's the book? Cadley. What's that? I had a book here. Let me see if I can find it. That author, Cade. I think he's a Navy SEAL. Cade. He talks about it. He was in a confined box for I don't know, like 5 days, and he loved he loved automobiles, like like fixing cars, automobile mechanic. He was basically, I don't know if he was a mechanic. So in order to pass the time, he visualized how he disassembled the entire Chevy in his head and assemble it together together just to pass time, or else he was gonna go crazy. So, and he was in confined 3 by 3 coffin type of box. For just Google SEER training box, coffin box, or whatever, in close confinement. So that's one aspect of it. So think of it as an adventure. Think of that you signed up for this shit. It's gonna be a rock and roll roller coaster ride, and you're gonna come on top. You're gonna dominate it. You're gonna crush it. So I basically signed up for it. I felt like fucking Gerald Butler. Didn't have my t-shirt on. He was naked, but I didn't have my t-shirt on. It was hot, and 911, the dispatch said, okay, just sit still, or open the door, sit still, and the paramedics or the paramedics will come to your place. So, and I sat there. I comply. You have to comply with all the, just Picasso said, follow all the rules so that you can break the rule. Just like chess, you gotta play by the rule, and then you gotta be creative. So you just follow all the protocol. So I sat there still, and they opened the door, and they thought I was some crazy guy because I didn't have my shirt on, and I was just laying there still, and I was calm. And they came, and then I said, they said, oh, your vitals are normal. Duh. Again, but the only reason I signed up for it was because of preventive measure. It's not because I really wanted to have fun. Although I said in jest, because everything I say right now can be used against me. So I'm fully aware of that. Yeah, it was basically, I didn't sleep for 10 days. I thought I was gonna go crazy. I was psychotic, and did have history of mental illness. So what happened was, they took me on a stretcher. No, they didn't take me on a stretcher. Never mind. No, the stretcher was downstairs. So they put my hand behind my back. I felt like Gerald Butler in fucking law-abiding citizen. They took me down, put me on the gurney, and then they took me to the paramedic, in the ambulance. Because I said, it's up to you. What do you want to do? I said, I'll just be safe. Just to be safe, I'll go to the hospital. And although my vitals were normal, and before they came, I could hear the boom boom boom, the siren. So they take me. I was cracking joke. Hey, look, I was having a hard time. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, what's gonna happen if my parents die? I'll have no income, and what's gonna happen if I go out? If I go out on the street and do nothing and just sit there, what's gonna happen? My body's gonna go into ketosis after 10 hours if I don't eat, and I'll start losing fat. My muscles gonna atrophy then, and slowly I wither and die. And then the guy was like joking, "Oh no, you'll never get there." And these guys are totally cool. They're professional. They chisel, cut, courteous, polite. They're the cream of the crop. The cream of the crop. I went to the hospital. The staff were kind of flaky and like unprofessional, and so. But anyways, I made a gesture, which I'm not gonna repeat it right now, and that gesture was the one that what framed me. So, and one of my relatives came to visit me, and I shouted at her, so they knew that I was being psychotic, and I came to a breaking point, which I was, but I was still very aware. I was acting in a clear, conscious mind because I didn't want them to break me down, and that's exactly what they're gonna do. They're gonna break you down. So they put me, and then the crisis. What was the name? I think she's a crisis evaluator. She has a designation, but she's the crisis counselor or something like the designator. So we have to wait for that in the hospital in the emergency room, and before for her to evaluate if I should be sent to for a hold as 5150 if I qualify for 5150, and it turned out it was. So on to the next phase. At night, they took me. And in the hospital, only one thing that rattled me was because of the gown they give you. I just say, hey, I have the right to be treated with dignity, because when you wear that gown and you tell off my clothes and just have my underpants on, I don't feel you're being treated to me with dignity. So so they helped me with that, and then the people were there in the other room. They were getting crazy. People were having fit. You don't want to do that. Just you have to complain. You gotta play it cool. Just imagine what a Navy SEAL would do. And it turned out I did meet a Navy SEAL though later on in my court hearing from other place. So I went to the. So then they took that at night. It was indeed deemed that I was 5150. I was taken to a new facility, undisclosed. You'll find out what it is later. I mean, they obviously would disclose it. And as soon as I walked in, it was night, probably 12:01 or something. Surprise, motherfuckers! I didn't say that, but I just said surprise. So they knew I was kind of cuckoo, and they put me on the what's that called? Shit, where they strap you with a leather belt and shit on the bed. Oh, what's that called? Fuck. Oh shit. It's Oh, I should look it up. Okay, basically, I forgot the term. It's a confinement. Okay, just let me look it up. 5150. It's a bed. Some kind of bed. 5150 bed. Shit, I can't think. Okay, it'll come back. But anyways, so they'll put you in that bed. It's called 5150 to 24-hour bed. What's that bed called? There's a term for it. I'm trying to find that out. God damn it. But anyways, so I was there and I was joking and cracking. Hey, could you wake me up for breakfast? And could you have some? What time will breakfast will be served? And may I order some veal steak with it and all those shit. I was just fucking, and you gotta keep your moral and high and humor high, and you gotta. So anyways, you can request for whatever you want, and it does feel like a hotel, and the people the staff were kind, and for the most part, I would 70-80% of the time. And I'll not disclose which hospital it was. I don't want to put them on the blast. It's not about that. It's about the process. So you'll be put on that temporary. Let me find out what it's called. Temporary bed. It's called, what bed is that? 5150. Shit. 5150. Psychiatric. Oh, temporary. There's a term for it. Okay, but basically, so what is going to happen is 24-hour will pass, or 3-day hold. You'll be placed on a 3-day hold, and after that it'll be expanded to, I think, 14-day hold for 5150, and then there's increment like 5152 or something like that, and the reasons being, there are 3 reasons. If you're 5150 qualified person, is a danger to others, which you do not ever want to be. You're a danger to self, I was stupid enough to make a stupid gesture, and you shouldn't do that. If the person is gravely disabled, again, that's counted against me because I disclosed what's gonna happen if my parents die, and I'll have no income, and so that was that, and then it from 5150, not 5152, 5250. That's for 72. That's for I think 14 days. So that's 14 days. 5150, I think, is for 3 days. I think 5150 and the 72 hours. My bad. So 3 days, yeah. And then 5250 is a 2 weeks, and then they can extend it to a month, if they want. But that's different. And so yeah, that can be scary. The whole that bed, it is the Spartan bed isolation. So I even made my bed in that on that day, at that seclusion. I think that's not called secluded 5150 secluded bed, secluded isolate. That's what it called, secluded chamber or something. They have all these terms: secluded chambers, seclusion, 5150 psychiatric secluded chamber. I think it's called. That's what it's called. But I know. I'm. I'll probably find out later. Okay. And there's something also called Long-Term and Petri-Short Act, and it also ties with what's it called? Because that's the act that safeguard not safeguards that guarantees that they can do that. Because and then there's another. Okay, let me look it up. Okay. Okay, so basically, yeah. So after that 72-hour, and it doesn't matter. You cannot talk about your rights. You cannot talk about a lawyer. The lawyer will only be available after 3-day hold, especially if it's on a Friday. Then what? Lawyer's not gonna come. You cannot get hold of an attorney or a public defender till Monday. So basically, you have to suck it up and go with the flow. So after that, just be the gray man. Don't cause any ruckus. Just comply, and still you wanna be on top. You wanna be assertive. You wanna be dominate this shit. And I refused medication, and I refused medication because the doctors already prescribed medication without even seeing me. So I pointed that out, and then they know that, and the doctors tried to intimidate me, and I refused, and they said, fine, they tried to intimidate me, and they said, okay, we're gonna get you court order. I said, fine. And I told the nurse, you know what, even if that comes to that point, you will be the one to will inject me. I won't do it. I won't be like, what was the term I'm looking for? I won't resist, but the blood is gonna be on your hand. I didn't say that word, but that's the guilt is gonna be on them. So see, you can play all these little psychological tricks. And I even told the doctor, hey, let's talk about you. Maybe your parents were a dick when you were a kid. That's why you became so abusive right now. I didn't use that word, but that was the tone. That was the intonation, the implication. I didn't say that quite exactly, because you don't wanna. You wanna build up a case where you wake up every morning, make up your bed, you take your breakfast, you brush your teeth, groom and do everything. So you gotta be spit polished when it comes to those behavior and discipline. You don't want to fight with anyone. You want to be friendly. You want to be normal. And that's why I refused medication. And they're trying to intimidate me. And it's called, another thing is habeas corpus. That's the term you should along with long-term and Petri-Short Act, habeas corpus. So that's the habeas corpus hearing, and that's when I went to the court, and I was grateful for my parents to bail me out with a written agreement that they'll take care of me. And I mean, yes, granted, in my case, although it was 2 weeks, it wasn't that severe, and that's why I got out. But I technically won the case because they wanted to intimidate and put me on medication, but I refused. And I told one of the lawyers wanted to try to get dirty. And even now at that point, when I was in the court, in the jail, and then not the court, the waiting area in the court, which is for fucking 6 hours, one of the lawyers came and he put his feet on his table, on my seat, and I said, "Excuse me, could you don't do that? Excuse me, do you mind?" I said that. He's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Could you please don't put your feet on my seat?" and then he complied. And he was a kind of a good guy, but he's doing his business. You know what's up. What I mean by he's doing his business, he'll be the sleazeball lawyer in our story, and then I told him, hey, you don't know who I am. I'm the fucking Kunta Kinte. You know the scene in Kunta Kinte where he whips to change his name. I'm that guy. You can break me down, but I will not comply with medication. So we walk. You don't work it out always. We talked it out. I talked about um, like he said, but it's for your own benefit when you get out to see us specialist, psychiatrist, and talk about medication. I know you don't want to be on medication. I was like, fine, whatever. So right now, I'm normal. I don't have to be on medication. I don't have to be on psychiatric facility, and I think I always have been normal. And you want to get that at the back of your mind. Elon Musk talk about hintergedanken at the back of the mind. They'll try to break you down. It's ironic. They said they they treat narcissism, gaslighting, but they are the ones who gaslight. They wanna find out what's wrong with you. If you're compliant, a patient is too compliant. If you're too stubborn, or patient is moody, or like if you're too obsessive, you're picky, you're obsessive. Like they can always pin you down for something. If you have used words, if you use talk too much, compulsive speakers, they've always little diagnosis for everything. So anyways, to cut a long story short, so first that happened. First the emergency ER, crisis evaluator, a 72-hour hold, and the bed, that bed only lasts for overnight. And I came at night, and that inclusion, open some inclusion. Wait, I'll find it. Open inclusion room. I think it's called open inclusion room, psychiatry. Open inclusion psychiatry. Yeah, that's what it's called. I think it's called open inclusion psychiatry room or something. Or inclusion, or closed inclusion, open. So, I just Google it, okay? So, let me find out actually. 72-hour hold seclusion room. What's it called? I think it's called seclusion room, basically. Where they can actually strap you down and inject you with sedatives and strap you down with leather belt, like fucking Hannibal Lecter shit and all that. And I think it's called open seclusion room. Yeah, that's what it's called. Let me see that. Open seclusion room psychiatry. But anyways, whatever the term is, so you can avoid that easily. Yeah, like there will be, just look at, you gotta keep your look at the positive. Think of it like and that's exactly what it is for the rich people. Sanitation, it's a sanitation room, like it's hygiene. Your reset button. So think of it as a trip of confinement, quarantine in a hotel for 2 weeks. Basically, food is guaranteed, shelter is guaranteed, TV. There's playtime, coloring, fucking checkers and whatnot, Monopoly. You can socialize. You make friends, and I made some friends actually, but I didn't keep in touch. But that's just me. I'm an asshole. And you can play. You can just think of it that way. You gotta there's fucking Zumba classes and shit. Not violin, but yeah. So there are all these events and TV. You can watch TV all day. And it gets bored. I understand. And there's no window. Like it's all fucking painted with the veneer. But yeah. So emergency room evaluation, the 72-hour, which is in that confinement where they lock you down. Technically, they get you out for 2 weeks. 2 weeks, a 3-day hold. And then from 3 days they extend to 14 day. And yeah, the thing is, if you cannot avoid it, but you can play the cards that are dealt to your hand. And if you go with the flow, just be disciplined, you'll come out on top enjoying it. And like me, if you're lucky like me, refuse medication. I think that's about it. Just think of it as a discipline training to reset your mind and health. And one thing you have to realize, there is a reason why you're there, or you will be there, or you have been there. So understand that, and because it doesn't happen by accident. And for me, I actually signed up for this shit. for as a precautionary measure because I had history before. But and it gets better because I've been doing it for so long, so I know what to expect. But and yeah, you'll get in touch with the public. There'll be an opportunity to get in. But again, there are those frame of window of time where exactly when you can call them. But the good thing about that hospital was the nurses were very cooperative, and it's just like prison, bro. If you're in good terms with the warden, the nurses, you can pretty much move all the bricks you want, or move all the. You can pretty much run the whole shit behind it. And one of my, he was a good friend of mine. I don't know. I don't want to give out his name. I don't even remember his name. He was Korean, half Mexican. He was saying they think we're in. They're the ones who are in the fishbowl. They think they're studying us behind the glass. They're the one in the fishbowl because they're a fucking chamber, cubicle with the glass, and we get to see what they're doing all the time. So on that note, I'll end it. Good luck. Try to avoid it, but now you know hopefully what's gonna come. And uh and I think I've touched on every. Oh, there also. Oh, you can also. I did that. I do that all the time. Make your grievances known. So there are all these opportunities for you to gain an inch of edge over others, and so it's all checks and balances. It's not like you're the victim or anything. You can still, be. If they want to be coercive, you can point it out. If they're using foul language, you can point it out in the grievance. And some people, and yeah, you might say, oh, that doesn't work. Yeah, but they'll at some time point they will note it down. They'll note it down. If someone's doing their job, they'll note it down. I even call the cops and say, hey, look, this is what happened to me. They're like, oh, get it after you get out, call us back. And the reason why I know the cops number. Because I didn't call 911. I called the cops direct number because I just have it memorized. I mean, because I see it on the toll company, like this car will be towed, and the number is there for NIMPD. So I had it. After seeing it all the time, I had it memorized. And there was a fun incident where another girl, again, respecting HIPAA confidentiality, she knew the number of Pizza Hut, and I said, hey, let's order pizza, but I didn't have the balls to like actually do it and order pizza. That would have been amazing if you could actually do that, order pizza, and it shows up on the fucking facility. Peace.